Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. His victory, our victory. That's the nation. Oshiomhole Emefiele's Naira policy designed to scuttle elections. I plan for reunion and forgiveness is assured. Okay, which story? Only one story in Nation this morning.
Yeah, so when I took the story, so I took the paper first. So, you know, the Naira design has been generating a lot of controversy. And the former Edo State Governor, Adams Oshiomhole, has described the policy implementation, which started in January, as one designed to scuttle the elections scheduled for the February 25th and March 11th. He says that the policy is ill-conceived, not well thought out, and poorly timed. He went ahead to say that the CBN governor is, you know, trying to rope in the president because we see the president as anti-corruption. He has an anti-corruption posture, and so they are trying to pit him against Nigerians. Then he went ahead to narrate how he had, you know, he wanted to contest for the presidency. That's the CBN governor now. And he had, you know, indicated interest in buying his tickets. But by the time the president had instituted an order that if you want to contest, you must resign, he went back. He didn't come out again to tell them why he was resigning. And he promised them that he was going to make a huge announcement. And all of a sudden, they are seeing a Naira redesign, which was his huge assignment or announcement. Then the Speaker of the House of Reps was also saying that they will likely reconvene before the 25th of February if nothing is done concerning this Naira design, if Nigerians are still facing a lot of hardship. So they are monitoring what is going on, and, you know, they are on recess right now, and they were supposed to be resuming February 28th. But if nothing is done, they will likely resume on time. And they went ahead to say that they had to forcefully bring Emefiele to, you know, answer the sort of hard questions that they had for him in the House, because they kept inviting him and he kept declining. Still, they issued a war, like a threat, before he could come. And he would have been the first CBN governor to be arrested to come face the House of Assembly. But they said everybody is looking towards seeing the changes that will happen in the coming weeks to see what will happen if they will have to reconvene back and handle the situation.
Moving on quickly now to the Punch. Buhari under pressure to end fuel and Naira disasters. FBI police hunt killers of Nigerian pastor's wife. Overcrowded Abuja schools where pupils learn on bare floor. Nigeria took Chase Tinubu to London for PCC appointment, says Keyamo. Extension INEC silent as PVC collection ends. Telecom subscribers sue government over tax. And interim government illegal. Parties won federal government. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let me just do the picture story. So, Punch did this report, and the local education authority school in Zone 9, Lugbe, Abuja, is the school in question. This school, the picture shows clearly that the students are sitting, people are sitting on the floor, and it's a primary and post-primary education facility within the Federal Capital Territory. And sadly, this is a small area, you know, governed by a minister for the FCT, but they are not administering the basic, what it's called SUBEB for the states is called, what's it called for the federal government? Basic health. Money. I'm trying to remember the name of that fund. Is not being utilized properly in that area. If you can find schools like this within the FCT.
That's UBEC?
UBEC is what I'm trying to remember. So the Minister for Education has continuously emphasized that state governments are not doing enough. So it's sad that within the FCT where UBEC will be seated, you find schools like this. So the picture shows a terrible image. The toilets, the classrooms, you know, everything is in a dilapidated state within the FCT in this story. And I like that one expert, I'm trying to take his name quickly, the director of program, Reform Education, Ayoda Mola Oluwatoyin, said that, you know, government must take responsibility, that this image you're seeing from the FCT cuts across states. So you will see some performing states, they'll be, you know, talking. All of us in Lagos don't know the reality.
And that's why we must even review because UBEC was an intervention. Local governments own the public, primary schools. Basic education belongs to local government. But UBEC was an intervention. So have we reviewed the effectiveness of UBEC in the past few years?
Where I'm going.
Have they been effective?
In the FCT, they don't have such. What they have, I think, is another development authority for the federal capital. So when UBEC fund comes there, it should go directly to schools. What is happening? Who is probing what?
Exactly.
Why should this kind of image come from our capital?
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
So true.
Let me take.
I want to take the major headline. The major headline: our president Muhammadu Buhari is under pressure to end fuel crisis as well as the Naira crisis, and they said a few governors met with the president to discuss the issue. Nigerians, including senators, governors, and youth on social media are on their own campaign, but APC governors on Friday met with the president, and the conversation was to put an end to the new Naira note crisis. The chief press secretary for Ogun State's governor, Dapo Abiodun, explained that the crisis in Ogun State was so bad that the governor of Ogun State had to suspend his campaign because it didn't make sense for him to be dancing when he can see that majority of his people are groaning and complaining, unable to buy food. He said that in view of having a lasting solution, it's not a few days thing. It should be resolved within a few hours, that relief must come to his people. Then I need to highlight the story of Yobe State, because Yobe governor on his part, Maman Mohammed, who is the spokesperson for the governor, said that Yobe's crisis, they have insurgency. Most of his states is not banked. That the few banks in the state are so far apart that many of people in Yobe State, for them to go to get into a banking hall, need to travel very far. So how do they even access the cash? There is insecurity, there is insurgency, there are no banks. Majority of his citizens don't even own a bank account. So this policy for him does not even, it doesn't even work. He said our problem is more than this policy. The new Naira notes cannot work in Yobe State. That the extension they've given, he said, imagine the scarcity of petrol, the rising inflation, and we find it difficult to have access to our cash because Emefiele, according to him, is lawless and very stubborn. That's and many people are complaining about this, that the situation for them is not realistic. So Punch highlighted a few tweets mentioning the crisis, many governors mentioning the crisis. People are complaining that the electronic transfer they've done hasn't even reflected.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So their money has not arrived and they cannot do transactions with
how
it.
one human being can hold a whole nation, 200 million
And
people,
put us in crisis.
One person makes a decision. National
With the support of the president.
National will call you. No, we won't answer.
So, you know, they've started responding by making videos across bank vaults and saying
they're the ones holding
as if these notes are the one that will solve.
How many bank
Do you know how
vaults?
many northern states are reflective of what Yobe is? Niger, Sokoto, states that, you know, even Kaduna.
We'll talk about it. It's still a hot topic. We'll discuss it a bit later. Let's also talk about the death of the Nigerian based pastor Eze Kings' wife. His wife, Eunice Dwumfour. She died in New Jersey. She was shot. 12 bullets were shot at her in New Jersey. The FBI and the Jersey police have embarked on a joint operation to see how they can unravel the mystery surrounding her death. According to the report, she was seen talking to the assailant right before he shot at her, and she was having a conversation with him. And so she slumped over her wheel, and she had the hooded top on her, and her hands were down, and obviously she died immediately. She's the wife of the pastor, I think is the Nigerian-based Champions Royal Assembly. Her husband is Pastor Eze Kings, and she was a director also in that church. She was she's also a business analyst and SCOM professional for Fire Congress Fellowship Incorporated. I mean, the fact that she was even speaking to her shooter before her death means that she possibly knew the person. So the person shot at me. Really, really sad. The FBI is on it, and I hope we can get the assailant quickly.
Okay. So telecommunication on us is not fair. It says when you buy airtime, you pay VAT. Why are you still paying VAT for the services? The suit also was cited by Punch, and they're praying the court to declare the VAT on telecom services as unconstitutional and illegal, and declare the implementation of excise duty on telecoms as null and void. They said it was the first time they mentioned it was in July, and then it was suspended in September. And right now, I think they're trying to revise it again. And they're saying that if this is allowed to happen, that means consumers will be paying about 12.5% VAT on their purchases every time, and it's not working. We already know that we do not have the good purchasing power as consumers, and then we're adding this one again to our telecom services. So let's see how it goes in court.
Okay, the point. 19 days to go, state of the race. Families of slain robbery suspects cry for justice as stakeholders lament continued extrajudicial killings. Nobody plays anti-politics more than Atiku, says Onye Buchi Chukwu. Pension assets hit 14.9 trillion naira amid limited investable options. And housewife docked for allegedly assaulting man who sexually harassed her. Okay, which story are we taking the point?
That's gossip, interesting one. So this housewife in Sh0t State, Mistura Ayodeji, has been, arraigned for assault of a man on a one-count charge of assault, and the court proceeding was very interesting. So she insisted that the man had she did that because he was putting sexual advances at her, and that he brought in he found an excuse to bring in another issue. So that's the complainant in his own account, said his name is Sunday. He said he met Mistura over a disagreement that ensued between her and his friend, whom he had borrowed 20,000 naira for a thrift. And he said that she was snubbing him when he sought her attention to table the thrift collection matter, and ended up tearing his clothes when he insisted to have her attention on the issue. She said she tore his clothes because he had sexually advanced at her in the past, and then found this excuse to come into the matter. So I think there's an agreement. We can see that the lines of the lie and the truth are balancing out. Okay. So she insisted that the matter did not concern him. The thrift matter did not concern him. It was between her and his friend. Right. And he found a way to bring the matter up, and that she refused to pay him attention, and then he insisted, and so that led to what? But the court, the chief magistrate, the magistrate sitting over the matter, asked both of them to go and settle before the next hearing, and that if they fail to settle, she will proceed to hear the case.
Daily Sun. Naira redesign senseless, says Oshomole. Tension heightens over new Naira notes and fuel scarcity. Anxiety in APC as Tinubu's Cold War with Buhari. Scarcity to worsen as Ipman warned members not to buy petrol above 195 naira to the litre. Census NPC reassures on conduct of credible, acceptable headcount. PDP commends Atiku for standing for Nigerians. And PDP will ensure Southeast inclusion, says Okowa. Beware of plots to derail electoral process, North elders tell Buhari. Okay? Which story are we taking in?
Okay, the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, is ordering all deposit money banks, DMBs, across the country to ensure 24/7 service availability and promptly address any customer dispense errors arising from service failures. They said they are reiterating that the currency redesign policy will improve tax collection and reduce tax evasion and avoidance. So they are trying to make sure that all the money needed for dispensing will be made available to the bank, so that consumers will be able to get cash out of the bank. And he said they are collaborating with entire financial ecosystem, the DMBs, the OFIs, the MMOs, super agents, MFBs, payment system providers, and EFCC, ICPC, and other law enforcement agencies to ensure that Nigerians have a variety of options for financial transactions, either through electronic channels or in exceptional circumstances. And one of the reasons this is done is to make sure that they include even the informal sector into the banking system, so that everybody is able to have a bank account. And I remember the story Tope just took this morning in the rural areas, which they have not considered, and they've not told us how they're going to solve the issues of people in the rural areas. Okay,
so the National Population Commission has reassured Nigerians and the international community that they will carry out this coming population and housing census scientifically. They said that they are ready to conduct it credibly, and they'll be relying on technology to carry it out. They did. This was announced by the federal commissioner representing Enugu State at the International Institute of Management and Technology International Conference Center in Enugu, where they flagged off a 10-day training for facilitators for the 2023 population and housing census that will be happening this year.
So the Northern Elders Council, NEC, has urged President Buhari to handle the events leading to the election, saying that he must ensure fair, transparent, and rancor-free process. According to him, they are non-state actors who are going beyond merely lining their pockets to sabotaging and causing chaos to scuttle the electoral process. He said that the other statesman, Tanko Yakasa's, tasked Nigerians to exercise caution in their voting decision, avoid falling for the traps of groups, political parties, and ethnic agenda to divide our nation. Okay, let's move on quickly now to Vanguard. Anger, frustration as PVC collection ends. New Naira note, OPS 6 ways out of supply hiccups. PSC appoints 3 DIGs, suspends 19 CPs and DCPs promotion. We are waiting for Dangote refinery to remove subsidies, says reps. Presidency, Makinde will tell you candidate to vote for, says Wike. PDP accuses APC of mopping up cash for vote buying. 8 killed in Ondo fresh attacks. Polls, catastrophe awaits riggers. Yakasai warns politicians. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I want to take the story of the petrol crisis that we're still facing. The Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, so far continue to still sell their ex-depot price at 200 Naira per litre, which makes it impossible for independent marketers nationwide to sell for anything less than that. The federal government, in a crucial meeting with all the stakeholders of the downstream sector last week, pegged the ex-depot price at 172. But checks by Vanguard show that private depot owners continue to sell at 200 and above. And they are saying that it's because they have old stock and they will still sell out that stock before they revert the price to 172, which means that consumers, motorists are having to pay between 250 to 300, depending on the location, as much as 500 to buy per litre of fuel. NNPCL has said that they still insist that they don't have a fuel shortage crisis, that the issue is a transportation crisis. And there is over 127 million litres of PMS in all the facilities for the month of February, so we have surplus supply, and we're just waiting to see how it eases out. However, good news for Lagos, because the Ijegun Egba Tank Farm Owners Operators Association has said that they've pledged that they would be selling their ex-depot price at 172. So probably that will bring a bit of relief to people within that area.
That would be a miracle. The Police Service Commission promotions are flying everywhere, as well as suspension of promotion. So they have promoted about 6 AIGs, if I'm not mistaken, to DIG's position. Sorry, 3 AIGs to that of a DIG's position, and suspended 19 commissioners and deputy commissioners to their promotion to AIGs and CPs because of their failure to appear before them for the mandatory promotional interview. And they continue to promote about 47 DSP of police who previously were recommended to their position. 665 assistant superintendent of police were also promoted. So promotions happened within the police service commission.
So the House of Representatives has said there was no going back on the removal of subsidy, saying that they are waiting for the completion of Dangote refinery, which is holding back the removal of subsidy. So the chairman of the Committee on ECOWAS, Adebayo Balogun, said this at the concluded commissioning of Lekki Deep Seaport in Lagos. And he said subsidy will be removed as soon as possible once Dangote refinery comes on board. And they said they had, according to the PIA, that's Petroleum Industry Act, they said it was supposed to be removed in June. But the federal government is saying they will do their best to make sure that they remove it in April. So we just need to be patient while Dangote refinery comes up and other refineries as well. They also said that the Dangote refinery also has the petrochemical plants, which will bring chemicals used for plastics, pharmaceuticals, and others. And these are some of the things that we spend billions of Naira and billions of dollars on. So that will also help us to see how we can create more opportunities for people in the country, provide more jobs, and see how the economy goes.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.